Hi, we're here with Preeti Shridhar, who's running for Port of Seattle, Commissioner position number 2. Would you like to go ahead with a 2-minute introduction?
Thank you. Yes, I'm really excited to run for Port Commissioner position 2. I want to make sure that the port remains a world leader in maritime and aviation. My promise is to grow jobs for all, to have an inclusive economy, and to protect our environment. So a little bit about myself. I was born in India, and I think my destiny was to be married off to a man I'd probably never met before, serve him, take care of his extended family, and spend the rest of my life in a kitchen. But I had different plans for myself. I got a scholarship, I came to Minneapolis, I got an education, got a master's degree in finance and marketing, and then came to King County. There also I defied tradition, and instead of going into high tech, I got into public service. And I've been in public service for 27 years. I've been an advocate for transportation, homelessness, have launched innovative programs like Renton's Spectacular Economy, inclusive programs, Seattle's conservation, climate protection initiative, worked for immigrant communities, inclusive program, etc. But let's talk about the port. I said jobs for all, inclusive economy. There's a lot of things that are happening in the port. My promise is let's have an accountable port, let's be transparent in our decision making, let's include all. And that's what I've been doing 27 years, 3 decades, being collaborative. Businesses, communities, labor organizations, and we have to do that. The port is one of the most important public sector organizations, and it's got to work for all of us. The airport is the 8th busiest. Our maritime industries are really important. We've got to work for the future of our community. We've got to have jobs for all. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll move on to questions. Elizabeth, would you like to start with question 1?
I would be happy to.
And I can turn this over?
Yes, you may.
All right.
You should remember. What are your priorities, and what do you plan to accomplish if elected?
I did state that I want to make sure that the port is accountable, transparent decision making, public input, and make sure that we keep the port on a trajectory to be a world leader in maritime, aviation, jobs, and protecting our environment. These are key priorities. There's a lot of big investment that's happening with the port right now. We're opening the Seattle International Arrivals Facility. Let's keep the costs down. Let's make sure that this is done with being a good neighbor, because there's a lot of communities that are impacted. Let it be something that's good for our region and for our international travel. We've got a huge cruise terminal that's being opened on our waterfront. Really important for Alaska cruise travel. Again, let it be for the economic benefit for all. Maritime industry is very important. Huge competition on a global level. I've got great ideas. There's a lot of untapped potential there, especially as we look at the Asia-Pacific trade. And I want to be there so that we look ahead, we look at opportunities, but we work together in collaboration. May I ask a question?
Sure.
1 means 1 minute up?
Yeah, you have 1 minute left.
1 minute left. Okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
All right. How should the Port Commission act to improve wages and working conditions for taxi drivers? And in this era of Uber and Lyft, how does the port address issues of access, equity, and fair wages for drivers?
I love this question. Last time when I ran for Port Commission, I actually went and met with each and every one of the taxi driver community. This is a community that has been ignored, whose conditions are actually one that needs to be addressed with. There are opportunities and ways that you can work with all. And you'll keep hearing me say the word all. It's a 3-letter word, but it means a lot. And there are opportunities. This is, there is Uber, there is Lyft, but there is taxi, and there are ways that you can actually expand those opportunities. I do not believe any other port commissioner has done that. And there are ways that you can actually expand and offer those ways that you can, find ways for, they are changing their models. They are changing ways that they can also be competitive. And as port commissioners, that's what we have to do. So, they had business models that worked previously. They're understanding that they're also there to serve the communities. This is what we have to do. If it means that we need to find them opportunities to come into the new age, let's do that.
Thank you. Clayton?
It helps that I speak Hindi.
I was anticipating another turn. What opportunities do you see to advance the values of a Green New Deal and port, supporting a strong local economy in ways that are environmentally sustainable and economically equitable?
I have a long history in environmental programs, and that's another thing that I stand out again among my commissioners, other candidates. I look at the environmental efforts as something where, it's something we know we're way overdue. We have to take care of our environment. But again, you've got to look at it in a way that's practical, that makes sense, and that's something that you've got to integrate into the way of working, so that you just don't do a check mark here, you integrate it into your system. And that's why I've been successful in everything I've done before. The good news is, for me, it's not just writing a policy, giving a signature and saying go for it. Everything that I've talked about, I've been a worker bee. So that's something that I bring to the table. So when I will look at what we can do with the port, it's got to be integrated into systems. So when someone brings something to me, I can actually look at it and understand it and know, does it really make sense? What's the cost benefit analysis? Are you looking at it from a biofuel system? What does it mean for operations and implementation? What are the solar system benefits? What are the green building systems? So, there are multiple ways you can do it, and you have accountability, cost systems. We again have to look at it holistically, set your goals and integrate it and make it happen. I think port can be number one in the country, and it should be. We've got to set aggressive goals and make it happen.
Great, thank you. Jason?
What infrastructure and investments are needed to properly support the needs of the port?
Infrastructure investments everywhere, in every line of business, aggressively looking ahead and making sure that we follow through. As I mentioned, the airport is a huge line of business. We've got to look ahead and look into the future, because everything in our economy is around that. The maritime business, we've got to keep it strong. And the need is there. There are billions of dollars that are resting around it. Labor, strong, very, very useful, and hungry. Career paths of so many. We are so privileged to be here, to have the infrastructure here. Let's work it. The Duwamish itself, the jobs that it produces, let's work with it. We've got such strong labor unions and labor forces here. Let's work with them. We've got the technical college base here. So, we've again got to, let's make this work. Let's not turn it around into, real estate that's not going to produce the long-term future. So holistic master planning, and let's not push it into 25 years away. Let's plan for the future, but let's make it happen now. Again, I bring all this experience having done this for the last 30 years, and I plan tomorrow, but I make it happen today. So I'm a really irritating person, and I think that's why you want me
All right, and now we're going to open up to questions, and there'll be 1 minute apiece. Matthew, then Brittany.
Alright, I'm gonna wait until I set the timer before I question. All right. Do you think criminal history should be a barrier to employment at the port?
Absolutely not. I've actually worked, this is one of the things that I've been working with in my current job. I launched with our HR department an HR tactical inclusion plan, and one of the things that we included in that was to take away the question that asks for criminal background.
Thank you. Brittany?
What have you learned from and since your last run that's going to help you in this and in your tenure as board commissioner?
I'll give a facetious answer first and then a real one. House of Cards is not just HBO. I'm serious.
I hope you haven't shot your dog.
I'm not a politician, which is a reality. Like I said, I'm a worker bee, and the reason I'm running for Port Commission is because I really think it's one of the most important public sector, responsibilities we have here. For the last 30 years, I've been in government, and I know I've made a difference. And I think that this is an area we need representation, we need to be accountable, and I have all the skill sets to do so. What I've learned from the last campaign is that there is this need, and I just need to be working harder. It's a tough job because it's not as appealing as being in the Senate, but the responsibilities are as hard. So I'm going to keep working hard and reaching out and making sure that I'm elected. Thank you, sorry.
Any other questions? Jason?
The CTAC has reduced its accessible cabs from 24 to 16, and we'd like to kind of see that increase again. And there's no signage saying in the airport that there's accessible cabs. Would you be willing to kind of support more cabs that's accessible with 50 million people flying in and out of CTAC?
Yeah, I think we should have more accessibility. I think we should be working at ways that we should provide that. I definitely look into it to see, why we've had the decrease and what we can do to increase that.
Clayton?
Could you tell us a little bit about the capital program at the airport over the next 5 years?
So they've got the huge investment in the international arrivals facility that's coming up. And it's one of the areas that we've got to make sure that they stay on time. It's slated to open in 2020. And there's a significant infrastructure investment there. There's a lot of cost that's going to be incurred with that. There's been a lot of involvement of the public. There are flights that are involved. There are retail that's involved. So it's something that, as I get more involved, once, I'm on the commission, assuming that I'm elected, I'll be paying very close attention to that.
Thank you. Any other questions? Oh, Elizabeth.
I think that last time I asked you whether or not you would support inclusion of the port police in participation in law enforcement assisted diversion, and I asked if the port could in fact pay for their officers to be trained, their police. And so I'm just going to renew that because I still don't have anybody from the port in operations and working group for lead.
You don't have them in
No, they're not involved in operations and working. No.
I did go and meet with the port police last time, and I spoke to them, And I know that, let me speak about my experience with Renton, because that's an area that I've had the ability to influence, and we've been very successful there. So that's definitely a model that I could bring to the port. And we've been not only successful, but we've made huge strides. So I'm hoping that those are at least examples and experiences that I could take. The other thing I was able to do last time was, like I said, make that connection with Port Police, and I plan to do that, you know, even as part of my campaign.
Any other questions?
One.
Sure.
So the port is a sizable landowner as well.
Yes.
There's a lot of space.
Yes.
So how do you foresee the port potentially being a partner in sort of our greater regional efforts towards affordable housing?
For the
For affordable housing.
very, very great question, because affordable housing is another area that impacts the entire region. And affordability for everybody, including, you know, people who have everyday jobs at the port, is something that's, you know, always talked about. And then you've got, on the one hand, the port as a landowner, but you've also got the port as a landowner of industrial land, where you've got the communities, you know, who are working and have got warehouses, and you've got the labor, and you've got, you know, all the business areas of the port saying, what do we do with our land there? So the solution there again is you come together with regional partners and you look at what's the best use of the land. So I'm actually working on affordable housing and homelessness and sheltering at a regional level. And part of why I'm attractive to Renton is because I work as a regional partner, and I will bring, wearing both hats, saying let's work together to address this.
Thank you. Clayton?
I have to return to question number 3. What opportunities do you see to advance the values of a Green New Deal at the port? Supporting a strong local economy in ways that are environmentally sustainable and economically equitable. If we can hold the last phrase in abeyance for a moment, what specific opportunities do you see to advance the values of a quote, Green New Deal? Can you be more specific for us on that question? And then follow up as you like on the last clause.
Some specifics, I had spoken last time about biofuels as an option. We can continue to look at that. We can continue to look at green building options. We can continue to look at areas of you know, emissions and reduction over there. I have not framed any one specific area of environmental focus this time, because there's a few different things the port has already launched that I'm very pleased with. We've got solar panels in the airport right now. And so a lot of these different initiatives I was looking at holistically, saying that, you know, there's some good successes and, you know, should continue to integrate those.
Okay, thank you.
I work with 3, I want to get the number right, I may be off of it, I think it's 334 micro businesses, all located in rented space right on the port. And very much at the whim of the cruise ships and how and when and under what circumstances they come in. But they, those micro businesses are, some of them are deeply deserving and all of them are deeply in need of outside investment. Our micro business is something that the Port Commission can look at in terms of its purview on investing in port-related business.
I'm sure, yes, and they should. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because again, one of the things the port is looking into right now, and that's an area for expansion, is to look at inclusion and looking at how they can expand their emphasis on, minority-owned businesses. And that's just a wonderful way of expanding that program. They're just starting that, and so that's one wonderful area to kind of look at the scope of that. I've actually been working with Luis Navarro on that, so. Yeah.
It's going to
Great, thank you. And looks like we've hit the 20-minute mark, so if you would like to go ahead and give a 30-second wrap up, go ahead.
Well, once again, thank you very much. I'm very, very excited that this opportunity presented itself. And it's something that's I'm passionate about. I want to serve the community. I see this as an opportunity to keep the port not just as, really the top port in our area, but really working for the community. We're changing as an area, and we need to be mindful. We need to be working for who we are and our values, and that's Preeti for Port.
Thank you.